It's the Forever Knight-athon. We're recapping and reviewing every single episode of Season 1 of the 1990s Canadian police procedural about a vampire detective taking a bite out of crime. At the beginning of Episode 8, Cherry Blossoms, I thought I knew where it was going, right? There's a murder in Toronto's Chinatown, and Nick and Skanky, by the way, if this is your first episode, this man's name is Skanky. I'm not just calling him that. That's the character's name. That's not a joke I'm making. Nick and Skanky discover that there's a lot of racial tension between the police and the Chinese population of Toronto, who feel some sort of unexplainable urge to resist the jackboot of white supremacy. Also on the case, a stuffy immigration officer who seems a little too close to this. He and Skanky don't see eye to eye, on account of Skanky is low-key kind of racist.
And what do you know about the Chinese community, detective? The crimes?
All I know is my wife loves Mugu Gai Pan.
They're setting up a pretty obvious arc here, right? The characters are ignorant and dismissive of the Chinese community. They need to learn to understand them a little better in order to catch the kidnappers. Everybody walks away with a richer understanding of each other's cultures and a greater respect for the diversity that makes life in Toronto interesting. Like, just fucking look at this scene.
What I can't figure out is why nobody down here in Chinatown talks to the cops. I mean, you're Chinese, how come nobody talks to you?
And even though I'm Chinese, I'm still working down here with a fun boy.
Qu'est-ce que c'est feng boy?
It means barbarian, well, sort of.
Barbarian.
You'd think, right? By the end of the episode, they bond, and they have a scene where Skanky saves that guy with some sort of ingenious quick thinking, and the guy's like, thanks, and he's like, not bad for a barbarian, huh? That's about how this should go. Instead, Forever Knight rewards my faith in it by going in a far more interesting direction. The case, the kidnappers, the immigration guy, that's all lead up to the actual story of the episode, which has very little to do with any of it. Throughout this episode, we see flashbacks to the early 20th century, where Nick spent some time with Chinese immigrants in San Francisco. No wig, unfortunately, but we do get to see him try to pull off a top hat, and he doesn't make it work like Lacroix did. The Chinese immigrants have some sort of traditional healing method involving acupuncture that might help him overcome his blood addiction. This is an ingenious little trick that the show pulls, because like every episode has these flashbacks, right? Normally, they are Nick remembering these things. So I assumed this was Nick spending time with the Chinese community in Toronto, so he's thinking back to the first time that he met a bunch of Chinese people. The healing goes wrong, and we see Nick looming over the dead body of the healer, blood on his face, while her young son watches helplessly from the closet. Because this is actually that guy's memory, not Nick's. And that kid is now an old man, Dr. Wah, played by legendary character actor James Hong, who you might recognize from everything. Big Trouble in Little China, probably most of all. Dr. Wah is hiding away the intended victim of the kidnappers who want to kill her before she can testify in some Hong Kong gangster trial or some boring shit like that. So when Nick goes looking for her, he meets this old man who is very hostile to him, which he attributes to just that same racial friction I talked about earlier. This guy hates his guts because he's a white cop. Makes sense, right? Funny thing happens, though. Stonetree leaks the girl's whereabouts to the immigration officer, who it turns out was compromised by the gangsters, which is why he was so invested in the case. When they show up to kill her, Nick vamps all over them, getting shot all to hell and doing all sorts of spooky vampire faces. Also, a fun little detail is that while Nick fights them in this elaborate brawl, Dr. Wah just effortlessly knocks them out with an acupuncture needle. That rules. That kicks ass. Great characterization. We know everything we need to know about this character. He's patient, he's methodical, and he's powerful. Later, when questioned, Dr. Wah covers for Nick, which surprises him. They have a heart-to-heart where he explains that since they were both protecting the same girl, Dr. Wah figured Nick must not be all that bad, which Nick buys, because he doesn't think he's all that bad. And then the minute he lets his guard down, boom, get acupunctured, Nick. He wakes up on a table paralyzed. Dr. Wah wants revenge for what happened to his mother all those years ago. He's got Nick right where he wants him, completely helpless, dead to rights. Only one small problem, though. Nick, of course, didn't kill Dr. Wah's mother. Lacroix did, to stop her from helping Nick overcome his bloodlust. Lacroix wants Nick to have every kind of lust. So what a pickle for Dr. Wah. He obviously is pretty worked up. He wants revenge. He wants to be able to finally move on. But if Nick is telling the truth, well, I mean, he did help me save the girl. Maybe some vampires are chill, actually. And this is just a little public service announcement. If you ever have a vampire at your mercy, do not listen to them. Stake them right away. Don't take chances with vampses. Nick gets Jeanette to come testify on his behalf, and she has this real put-upon attitude towards it. Like, she had to run around in sunlight, and when she gets there, she's so mad at him.
Nicola! Where are you? Nick, this better be...
Until she sees Dr. Wah standing over him ready to stake his brains out and gets all pissed. Jeanette is such an interesting character. She puts up this callous, uncaring front, but you get these little glimpses where you see just how much she cares about Nick. She even backs down and doesn't kill Wah when Nick asks nicely. They talk it all out, and Wah remembers actually it was Lacroix that killed his mother, not Nick. So he lets them both go. And, hey, how come you let Jeanette go? Jeanette was there too. She watched your mother die and did nothing. She was Lacroix's pal, and also, she is still a blood-drinking, people-killing vampire. Lacroix is currently dead. It won't last. But here's some revenge you could get. And furthermore, just because Nick didn't kill your mother specifically, literally the only thing you know about him is that he is a vampire. And vampires, if they're known for one thing, it is killing people and drinking their blood. You, if anything, should have a dim view of vampires. Jeanette and Nick go back to his place and have a long discussion about why Nick feels so strongly about becoming human. And it's kind of sweet, actually. You do get the impression that these are old friends struggling to understand one another as they change and grow in life. But also, friends with Benny's baby. That is until Natalie cockblocks Nick, and Jeanette is very excited. Look at her face.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Natalie. Nick has spoken of you. Often.
You might have picked up on this by now, but the show is very gradually building up a romantic connection between Nick and Natalie. Right now, they're just close friends, but bit by bit, we start to see them gradually fall for one another. Held glances that last a little too long, flirtatious banter that escalates over time. It's actually really well done, and it helps that Gerard Wint-Davies is incredibly believable as a ladies' man on screen. To me, anyway. I don't know. What do I know? Ladies, let me know if you think I'm out of line here. He just always has this, respectful and inviting, but also playfully teasing way about him that does make it seem like it would be easy to fall in love with him. Normally, I kind of roll my eyes when everyone is hot for the male protagonist like that, but I don't know. He's a vampire. Vampires are meant to be sexy, and it just kind of works. And it helps that while he does bone down a lot, he's never a weird, leering creep, because they already have one. It's Skanky. So I guess one question I'm not really equipped to answer is, was this episode racist? I mean, yeah, probably, right? Probably it was. It gives off some red flags. They got that flute they play whenever movies or TV are racist against Asians. You know the one I'm talking about, the racism flute. And it doesn't help that the title of the episode is Cherry Blossoms, which are Japanese. And I get that cherry blossoms grow in Toronto. I get that. And to be fair, they do grow in China as well, but they're not like a national symbol of China. It would be like if they did an episode about America and called it Maple Leaves. You'd think, actually, that reminds me of a different country. I would be interested in hearing some Chinese perspectives on this episode. In case you were wondering, they do put a nice little bow on Skanky's racism arc by having him lead the investigation and instruct his men to be extra polite because he has come to understand why the people in Chinatown don't trust the police. So that's nice, I guess. The important thing here is that nobody gets mad at me. That's the big takeaway. The big takeaway is that I'm not to blame for any of this. Tomorrow, Natalie's brother is injured in a shootout, and on the brink of death, she asks Nick to save him by making him a vampire. Great idea. That ought to go great. Good thinking, Natalie.
And I'd like to thank the people who will forever be my knights over at patreon.com/scaredycats. In particular, I'd like to thank Verbena, Cooper Holmes, Joe McClory, Liz Widow, Maston Ginger, James Garford, C.H. Phillips, Gideon, Charlotte Hollingsworth, Devin Kaler, Spooky Heather Sylvia, and definitely Todd.
And I, Bobby Duke, the star of the channel, would like to thank the following people who's also the stars of the channel on account of their support on patreon.com/scaredycats. We got Jay Torney, Schadenfraulein, Lanston, Rachel Rat, Kato Moore, Carpad, Josh Manez, Hyla Tracy, Louisa Prito, and Jesse. Well, can you believe the shenanigans Nick Knight and his pals got up to in this one? Hey, we're gonna keep going all January, baby. You wanna get these videos a day early? Go on over to Patreon. Oh, wait. You can just wait. I mean, how bad do you need it,